Hello, I'm Sketches.n.Scrubs. Thank you for tuning into this video. I make weekly art tutorials, paint-alongs and vlogs. Today, I'm going to be going through another one of my gouache faces videos where we'll be going through a portrait speed painting and highlighting some essential gouache tips. This is actually my 5th video, so if you haven't checked out the other 4, then please do. I go through the do's and don'ts in gouache, common mistakes, and essentially provide a beginner-friendly introduction to colour theory and mixing darker skin tones. This is the portrait that we're going to be doing today. I'll link some timestamps here so that if you want to skip to certain parts, you can. The materials that you'll need are a pencil, watercolour paper, some gouache paint. I tend to use Himamiya gouache for this one, water in a cup, and some paintbrushes. I recommend that you use 3, so a flat brush for blending the skin, and 2 round brushes, a big one for hair and a small one for finer details. To mix skin tones, you'll need 4 colours plus or minus white. So you'll need cobalt blue and burnt umber, ochre and earth yellow, and you'll mix it in different amounts depending on whether you're painting the darkest areas, the mid-tones, the lighter areas. For the underpainting, I tend to use the colour that most resembles the person's skin tone. My other videos go into more detail about mixing colours, but as I say, this is the 5th one, so that was just a reminder. So to get started, I do an underpainting using ochre because I feel like this is what's closest to her skin tone. I then start by doing the darkest areas, which for her are underneath the hat and her neck and the side of her jaw. And then essentially work my way from the darkest areas to the mid-tones and eventually to the lightest areas. In this video, I actually used the round brush, the big round brush, to do her skin, and I actually found it a bit harder to blend than I did with other videos, which is why I would recommend that you use a flat brush to do the skin. Remember to subscribe for weekly videos. So now at this point, I have done the mid-tones, I've done the lightest areas and kind of added an extra layer of earth yellow, and then I just go back to add more depth. When the picture starts looking flat, that often means that I've lost my darkest areas, so I often have to go back and actually make them a bit darker to just add more contrast to the piece. This tends to happen because dark colours of gouache actually dry lighter than they are when they're wet, and light colours of gouache actually dry darker. So sometimes it can be, you can think that you're using very different colours, but by the time that they actually dry, you realise that they're quite similar. For that reason, it's also good to mix slightly more than you think you'll need with a colour, because it's really hard to make it again once you've used it up, as it will dry differently to what you're seeing. So for her, unlike my other pieces, I went OTT with the accessories. I really liked the reference picture and the accessories that she had on. You may have noticed that I'm kind of going back and forth between certain things. Like initially I did the skin, then I did the hair, then I did the hat. And the reason why I then go back and add extra details to the face is because with gouache, one, you can activate layers that are beneath it, but also if you paint, if you put gouache onto an area of gouache that's wet, then it will blend into each other and you won't kind of get a crisp and defined line. So again, if you're doing a sky and that's the effect that you're going for, then fine, but if not, then it's better to just let the area dry so that you can have a true colour. So at this point, I'm putting in extra details to her face. I'm using a Posca pen to make her lips glossy as always, adding that extra highlight, and that completes the 5th portrait of the Gouache Faces series. As I said, I did other videos such as do's and don'ts and showing you how to go from the pictures on the left to that on the right, and really focusing on painting darker skin tones, colour theory, and just basic gouache tips that everyone needs to know. Thank you so much for making it this far into the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and also feel free to message me or get in touch on my Instagram at Sketches.n.Scrubs. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and see you next week. Bye.